you.
Al-Qasim is in, and myself. Jibril, however, I'm not sure.
Okay,
Let me contact him.
yeah, so we can start.
Khadija, so Jibril indicated to me that he'll be joining us very soon. So I believe we could start with whatever remarks or pre-remarks of the debate, if there is any, or if there is none, then we can get into um, the expectations of the judges. I'm sure he would be here before we are done with that.
Okay. Hmm. All right. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Good afternoon to you all, and welcome back to the second edition of the Interstate Debate Championship. Today we are going to have the third group, that is MADHYA Pradesh versus Punjab. Welcome, Mr. Bite and the team. I welcome all the participants and all GAM-IND family members. So I would like to give the floor to Mr. Mbu to give a quick recap of yesterday's debate, and then from there we can proceed. Mr. Mbu, you are welcome. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so very much, Khadija, and greetings to everyone here. Greetings to our colleagues, that is the UTG DA. Yeah, welcome back to another round of the GAM-IND Interstate Debate Championship. Yesterday, we had a very successful debate. Yesterday, I believe we had two rounds. The first one was between Delhi and Maharashtra, and the second one was between Andhra and then Haryana, which we are very interesting. And today also we are looking forward to a more interesting debate in which we'll be debating on whether to ban importation of rice in the Gambia or not. So which is a very interesting topic, you know. So I believe they will do justice to the topic. So on that note, I would just like to welcome you all to another round of the debates, like Interstate Debate Championship. And then, you know, I believe it's going to be interesting. Thank you. Back to you, Khadija. Khadija.
Okay. So without wasting much time, I think we all the participants are around now, and then we have a good number. We can start. So on that note, I would like to hand over to, before then, Fansu's hand is up. Fansu, do you have any question or concern?
Yeah, I think I have something that I want to make you people to understand. Like
Okay.
like I am the only participant coming for Bhopal. My co-debater is not feeling well. He's having some health issues, so he will not be participating. So I'll be the only person on the ground for Bhopal. Just want to notify you guys.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Pite,
Yes, Khadija.
yes, back to you. Thank you very much.
Hi. Okay, thank you very much, Khadija, and thank you very much, Mr. President, for that recap. And of course, I want to agree that yesterday was quite an interesting, and I hope today would be equally. We would have an equally interesting debate rounds. Tom, let me settle this bug, please. I'm sorry about that. So as I was saying yesterday, we had really interesting rounds, and we're hoping to have an equally interesting one this afternoon. So I'll just get on to, as usual, the criteria that the judges would use to grade you. First is the content, which is really important, and content would be graded for 10 marks. The conciseness is 5 marks. The rebuttals is 7.5 marks. The voice is 5 marks. The logical presentation is 7.5 marks. The expression 5 marks. Grammar 5 marks, and POI 5 marks. So again, when you are debating, to the debaters, when you're debating, be mindful of your screen so you'd be able to accept POIs, because if not, you'd be losing marks. And to the audience, please do not raise your hands once the debate or when the debate is ongoing. You can raise your hands if you have any contributions to share after the end of the debate. But if you do it while the debaters are debating, you may confuse them because it's indicating that you have a POI. So please, let's take note of that. So the motion before the House today is this House will ban the importation of rice. Yeah.
Sorry for jumping. Also,
No.
you may
Yeah.
turn off your cameras when you are not debating, please. Thank you.
Yeah. So the motion before this House is this House will ban the importation of rice in the Gambia. This House will ban the importation of rice in the Gambia. So again, Khadija, you would help with the pronunciation of the states. I do not want to disrespect them by mispronouncing it. But yeah, you go on ahead with the pronunciation. So I'll just identify you as government and opposition. And I hope that is fair enough. So if the House is set, we would hear from the first Speaker of the House, that is the Prime Minister.
Okay, so they are MADHYA Pradesh and then Punjab. That is Bhopal and Punjab. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker, adjudicators, fellow honorables, distinguished audience present in this house. I greet you all. Before going further, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Fansu Mane, computer science student, BSc CS third year, representing MADHYA Pradesh, Bhopal. I am here to speak for the motion. This house believes that rice importation should be banned in the Gambia. Mr. Speaker, I would like to define what is rice importation. Rice importation is the procurement of rice from one country to another. Mr. Speaker, allow me to outline and discuss some of my key points related to banning of rice importation to our dear motherland, the Gambia. This House believes that the Gambia has a vast fertile land for rice production because statistics and indicators have shown. My point number 2 will be, this House believes that the Gambia have well-qualified personnel in the field of agriculture. Point number 3, this House can bear witness with me that banning rice importation, it can increase employment for rural communities. This House believes that quality control in local rice production, if banning of importation of rice into the Gambia would at least give us the quality in control of rural productions. It will also reduce poverty in the rural communities, dependency on foreign markets. These are all the points that are gathered to support banning of rice importation to our dear motherland. Mr. Speaker, the Gambia has, this House believes that the Gambia has a fertile land for production. The key statistics on land use for rice production, the total arable land area, which is approximately 5,558 hectares of land, it's been there for rice production. If these statistics, or if these hectares of land is being utilized, the Gambia can become food self-sufficient. The current rice production area in the Gambia, statistics has indicated that 57,000 hectares of the land is only been used by the farmers. So Gambia is using a small percentage of the land for rice production. Potential expansion, it is estimated that Gambia could expand its rice production significantly, potentially increase it to over 100,000 hectares if infrastructure, irrigation, and farming techniques are improved. Another point for banning importation of rice into our dear motherland. The Gambia have well-qualified personnel in the fields of agriculture. Whilst there is no, Gambia have a well-qualified personnel in the field of agriculture. Gambia have well-qualified personnel in the field of agricultural production. There are several key indicators that suggested that the country has a growing pool of skilled individuals working in the agriculture, particularly in rice farming. Mr. Speaker, those are some of my key points. This House can also believe me that, Mr. Speaker, banning rice into the Gambia and focus on local rice production has a significant potential to create employment across various sectors of the economy. Mr. Speaker, banning rice importation in the Gambia can focus on local rice production can significantly potential to create employment across various sectors of our economy. Increase in rice farming activities. If the Gambia boasts its local rice production, more farmers will be needed to cultivate the land, smallholders farmers, as well as large farming operations. Mr. Speaker, banning rice importation and focus on local production, the Gambia can significantly boost its employment rate, particularly in the rural areas, while promoting sustainable economic development and self-sufficiency. Mr. Speaker, this House can agree with me that banning rice importation into the Gambia can contribute to the economic growth of the nation. Contributing to the economic growth through local rice production, Mr. Speaker, banning the rice importation and focus on local rice production has a potential to contribute significantly in the economic growth of the Gambia. Allow me to explain the ways in which this shift can strengthen our national economy. The reduction of import cost, foreign exchange savings, cutting down on rice imports. Currently, the Gambia spent a significant priority of its foreign exchange reserve on imports to meet the country's consumption needs. By producing rice locally, we can drastically reduce the amount of money spent on import, thereby saving foreign currency and improving the country's balance of payment. Foreign exchange savings. Mr. Speaker, banning importation of rice into Gambia can also create job creation and poverty reduction.
Honorable Prime Minister, your time is up. You just please give us a second while we grade him. Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister, for the presentation of those points. So, if the House is set, we would hear from the opposition leader.
You're on mute. Sorry about that. Food security is not just a matter of having enough food, but also having access to it. Speaker of the House, adjudicators, members of the government and the opposition bench, uh, and members of the House, greetings to you all. Before getting to the debate proper, I would like to give you the rundown of my debate, which is first, I'm going to debunk the points of the Prime Minister. Secondly, I'm going to give you the definition of some of the key terms. And thirdly, I am going to give you some of my valid points. I will summarize, then conclude. If possible, after my four valid points, I will accept POI. So, to start with, as I said earlier on, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister, it is with utmost dismay that you have come before this noble house to give us this your baseless points and meaningless points that you have just put across here. Firstly, you made mention of quality personnel of agriculture in the agricultural sector. What have they done for the country so far? They have just been there. Like I said earlier on, the agricultural sector in the Gambia right now, it is the most useless sector in the country. They are not doing anything that is to make sure that the country is food sufficient. Secondly, you talk about the reduced poverty in the rural area. How is it going to reduce the poverty of the rural area when the government is not even putting any plan in place? Which you know that if they ban the agriculture in the Gambia, when they ban rice importation in the Gambia, they are not going to, they will help farmers to grow their rice properly. And lastly, you made a fertile land for production. Those fertile land are there, but being wasted for nothing because the useless Ministry of Agriculture, your ministry, they are not doing anything, absolutely nothing for the country. To go on with the points, since the Prime Minister cannot give us the valid definition of the points, some of the key terms, according to Oxford Dictionary, the definition of rice is it's a soft narrow grain that is white or brown in color and it is grown in wetland in hot countries for food. The second word is ban. It's an official rule that says something is not allowed. And then the last one is importation. Importation is the act of bringing a product or service into a country from another country. Now, to go with some of my points, first, Prime Minister, let me educate you with some of the points that I'm going to put in place right now so that your government can do more. If not, we are going to overthrow them. First thing is economic impact. Have you thought about you and your government? Have you thought about the economic impact this agriculture, if you ban the importation of rice in the country, the economic impact it is going to have in the country? It is going to lead to job losses. And even the export duties from that DRA and Gambia Post Authority received from the importation of rice. Have you thought about that? I guess you have not, because what the government think about is their self. The second thing that I have to put across is socially. The nutritional concern. Have you thought about that one also? Of course, I'm just disturbing myself, but I know it is not. If you import the imported rice, they provide a wide range of production, a wide range of nutrition to the entire Gambian population. Where you know that some of the people they go in for some of the people they try to make sure that if they cannot buy the American rice, they go in for Saddam. Sometimes like the American rice. So that wide range of it is going to provide a sufficient ingredients and balance that to their body. And lastly is the food security. Do you think about that it is going to use starvation for the country if they stop importation of rice? Now let me give you some examples. Have you listened to King FM lately, where President Adam Barrow came and said in front of the whole country that he is going to beg or lobby the Indian government to import 40,000 tons of rice into our country. Obviously, that should ring a bell to you that these people they are not making any your people, your government, they are not making any plan to stop to any plan to make sure that the cultivation of rice in the country is good.
And another thing is about when the Adam Barrow came into power, what they did, sorry about that. What they did was they went to the Badibu area. They took all their tractors, stole it, and then give them donkeys. And also, the government is concentrating more on the grammar sellers in the Gambia than rice. The rice cultivators, they are suffering in the country. The government is not making any plans for them. So as I said earlier on, a prime minister, I have give all my points. I'm going to summarize. First, I have debunked the points of the prime minister. Secondly, I have defined the key terms. Thirdly, I have give out my points, and then that's my summary. So conclude with, by investing into agriculture, research and development, improving and promoting sustainable farming in the country, the government can reduce importation of rice in the country, but to totally ban it from in the country is a red flag. It is going to cause starvation, job loss, and then price escalation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, opposition leader, for the presentation of those points. Please give us a minute while we grade those down. Thank you very much. Deputy Opposition Leader, if you're set, then we are ready to hear your presentation. Deputy Prime Minister, are you set?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I'm set.
Thank you very much. You may proceed with the presentation of your points.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. To continue with my point, which has to do with banning the importation of rice into the Gambia. Dependency on foreign markets. This House can agree with me that the country, when Gambia is, Mr. Speaker, while I have outlined the benefits of banned rice importation, I would now like to discuss some of the disadvantages associated with continuing importing of rice into the Gambia. Mr. Speaker, depending on foreign markets, when we rely on importing rice, we will depend on other countries to meet our basic food needs. This makes us vulnerable to external factors such as price inflation, trade restriction, and supply chain distribution, which can negatively impact food security. Mr. Speaker, adjudicators, fellow honorables, you should all agree with me that lots of potential local agricultural development. Importing rice discourage investment in local rice farming. As a result, our domestic agricultural sector does not grow to its full potential, limiting opportunities to food self-sufficiency and economic progresses. Local frameworks, farm face challenges, competing with cheaper import rice, with steady fast innovation and growth in the sector. Mr. Speaker, adjudicators, fellow honorables, banning importation of rice coming into the Gambia has a great role to play in our economic growth, contributing to economic growth through local rice production. Mr. Speaker, banning rice importation and focusing on local rice consumption has the potential to contribute significantly to economic growth of the Gambia. Allow me to explain the ways in which this shift can strengthen our national economy. Reduction of import cost and foreign exchange savings, cutting down to rice import. Currently in the Gambia, the Gambia spends a significant portion of the foreign exchange reserve on rice importation to meet the need of the country's consumption. By producing rice locally, we can drastically reduce the amount of money spent on import, thereby saving foreign currencies and improve the country's balance of payments. Enhancement of food security, Mr. Chairman. Banning imported rice into the Gambia, full self-sufficient, by producing enough rice to meet the domestic demand, Gambia can become food self-sufficient in its staple food. This reduces the risk of food storage caused by global price inflation or supply chain issues, ensuring stable access to affordable food for all Gambians. Mr. Chairman, it attracts investment. As the local rice industry grows, there will be more opportunities for both domestic and foreign investment. This could lead to improvement in infrastructure, technology, and research for further enhancing rice production and agricultural outputs. Mr. Chairman, adjudicators, fellow honorables, fresher and more nutritious rice, shorter supply chain. Locally produced rice does not have to travel long distance or to be stored for extended period, as it is often the case with imported rice. This results in fresher rice which retain more of its natural flavor, texture, and nutritional value. Mr. Chairman, this House should believe me, or this House should agree with me. Banning importation of rice into the Gambia would customize production on local taste. By producing rice locally, farmers can cater to specify preferences on Gambia consumers, whether it be in terms of grains, size, texture, or other qualities that make more rice appealing and aligned with local cultural traditions. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, fellow honorables,
They say usually put your camera on.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, rather, Mr. Speaker, adjudicators, fellow honorables, banning rice importation in the Gambia can reduce poverty in the rural communities. Reducing poverty in rural settings through local rice production. Mr. Speaker, one of the most compelling argument in the favor of banning rice importation and promotion.
Deputy Opposition Leader, Deputy Prime Minister rather. Your time is up. Right. Thank you very much. So that brings us to almost the end of the debate. We would hear from the final speaker of the House, that is the Deputy Opposition Leader. So if you're set, Deputy Opposition Leader, the floor is yours.
Am I visible and audible, please?
Yes, you are.
Oh wow, that was a great song. No wonder parts of the same feather always fit together. Speaker of the House, in my capacity as the Deputy Opposition Leader, please allow me to give you the structure of my debate. First, I will start by reporting the baseless and the tasteless points given by this Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister. In fact, this is the worst government I've ever seen in my entire life. Setting the points of my beautiful opposition leader, of course, give 3 valid points, summarize, and in summary, I will conclude. To follow the structure of my debate, Honorable Speaker, first I will state that I will start by reporting the senseless points given by this worst government I've seen in my entire life. Prime Minister, please, this house consists of intellectuals and not to refresh as yourself. Next time, before you come to this house, make sure you check yourself before coming. Anything you have to say in this house must contain sense and not senseless things. I hope I'm getting that clear. So moving on into the reporters, Mr. Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister, of course, you came here, you gave no reference to a definition. I mean, this is a house of intellectuals. Come on, give us things that are facts. Those words are not true. Give us references. We want to know where you got your words from. But thank God, my deputy opposition leader has sense. She came here and she put this house in order. To move on. He was like, Gambia has a vast fertile land shown by statistics. Which statistics? Gambia has a vast fertile land shown by statistics. Tell us the statistics. When was the statistics conducted? How and where? The next time I hope you come here, check yourself before coming and leave this house. Moving on to the reporters, he was like, the dependency on foreign market. I mean, come on, dependency on foreign market, how? It doesn't even hold water. And as far as this house is concerned, as far as I am concerned, that doesn't stand in this house. Another point was like 57 hectares of land are being used by farmers, and then contradicts himself and said, he said 57 hectares of land are being given to farmers, and then contradict himself and be like, only small land area is given to farmers. I mean, you don't understand which one is which. 57, and then we are saying again. I mean, does it make sense? So please tell us what you want to know. Well-qualified personnel in the field of agriculture. You said they are well-qualified personnel in the field of agriculture. Tell us the well-qualified personnel that are there. Give us names. We want to know the qualified personnel that are found in the agricultural sector. I hope you are getting that clearly. Please, the next time, make sure you come prepared before misleading this house. To move on, following my instructor to study the point of my beautiful opposition leader, she came and she talked about valid points. Once you know that they start in this house, as far as I am concerned, things like the economic impact it has, the banning of rights, the economic impact it has. Examples, she gave examples like the GRA and the GPA, and their statistics was given. Like 30% of the revenue is 30% of the Gambia revenue is from rice importation. 30%, can you imagine? 30% of the revenue of the Gambia is from rice importation, which is very, very true, which holds as far as this house is concerned. The next thing she mentioned was the wide range of varieties. As far as rice importation is concerned, there's wide range of varieties, which is very, very true. And then price escalation, that is the inflation, having too much of money and chasing few goods. Deputy opposition leader, I mean, you just came here, the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister literally said the same thing. So there's no need to say his points and to say the Deputy Prime Minister's point. I'll just kill two birds with 2 stones with 1 bat. How to call it? I'll just kill 1 bat with 2 stones. So following my structure, Honorable Speaker, I'll move on to my points. My point is Gambia's dependence on rice. As we all know that. In fact, that's the fact. A lot of Gambians depend on rice. Like rice is a stable food in many Gambians. And statistics have shown that clearly that 6 to 17% of the caloric intake for many Gambians is rice. Now, can you imagine 6 to 17% of the daily caloric intake for many Gambians is rice? So you cannot just jump and ban the importation of rice without questioning the Gambians, without not asking them. I mean, you have to ask Gambians whether they are in support of this rice importation or not. You cannot just jump and do things without consulting the Gambians. In fact, we are the worst government I've ever seen. The government that will just jump into conclusion without not put in consideration of its citizens. And there are some other studies that a survey was conducted by the Ministry of Agriculture under the leadership of Demba Sabal, in collaboration with the World Trade Organization, which is the WTO, that 80 to 90% of Gambian rice is imported from Thailand, India, and Pakistan. Can you imagine 80 to 90% of the Gambian rice? Then which land are you talking about that Gambians are cultivating? Which hectares of land are you talking about that a lot of Gambians are cultivating? Can you imagine? When 80 to 90% of the Gambian rice is imported from these countries. So what are you talking about? So next time, please. Moving on to my second point, Honorable Speaker, which is climate and agricultural limitations. As we all know, there are climate and agricultural limitations in the Gambia, which includes like floods, droughts, poor soil fertility, inadequate irrigation infrastructure, limited access to modern farming techniques, poor harvest, losses, etc. Those are the climate and agricultural limitations we have. So as how is this agricultural and these limitations? So all that is not. So a survey was conducted again by the Ministry of Agriculture, highlighting that 20% of rice fields in the country are irrigated, which significantly restricts productivity during dry periods. You understand? And this was another survey conducted again. This was National Agricultural Survey, data from the Gambia Bureau of Statistics, that is the GBOS, indicating that rice production in the country only meets about 10 to 20% of domestic consumption needs with the rest being through imports. So you can imagine. Moving on to my third point, Honorable Speaker, which is diplomacy, the trade relations. As we know, Gambia has a lot of trade relationships with other countries that imports. So if Gambia should just stop importation of rice just like that, I mean, it will tamper with the roots of the World Trade Union. If you cannot that would be a breach of trade, which will be regarded as a breach of trade. Gambia cannot just jump like that and ban the importation of rice. I mean, it will affect its diplomacy. It will impact on the diplomatic economic ties. It will strain the bilateral trade. Example, the bilateral trade, meaning Gambia and Senegal, or Gambia and India, etc. So statistics are also surveyed that. Survey by the Gambia Bureau of Statistics, GBOS, shows that approximately 30% of the Gambia's export revenue comes from countries that also supply it with rice. So you can see all those are facts that you know that you have to put into consideration. So to summarize my points, Honorable Speaker, I came here, I report the baseless point given by the Prime Minister, sharing the points of my honorable and sensible opposition leader, give 3 valid points, followed by statistics and surveys, summarize, and in summary, I conclude. I thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Deputy Opposition Leader, for those. Please give us a second while we work on the grading. All right. So while we're working on the grading, we would just leave the lines open for anybody who wants to share in their inputs as far as the debate topic is concerned. And please do not throw shades at the debaters. I'll want to appeal. You may just make your point and we move, please. So Ibrahim, your hand is up. You may proceed with the remarks or your input as far as the debate is concerned.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. I believe. Am I audible to you all? Hello?
Yes, from my end, you
yes, Mr. President, you're
all right. Thank you so very much. I believe like this is a very interesting topic, and I just want to give my side, to this debate or to the topic itself. That is like the banning of rice importation here in the Gambia. Like looking at the Gambia, being a very small country, which is blessed with many resources, most especially when you come to like water resources. Gambia, we have water resources, and we also have the climate required to, like grow our own rice. But looking at it, like if you come to the Gambia, it's a different case. Most of our rice, or like higher percentage of the rice we are eating, we are, importing it from other countries. Looking at it, therefore, I believe like there is a lot to work on. Is it that people are not farming, or is it that farmers are not helped? Is it that like the land is not available, or is it that is the government that have to step in and take up responsibilities? So looking at all these things, like all these things, if you try to model it, at the end you will come to conclusion that like resources are available. That is, water is available, sun is available, meaning the climate is good, and then farmers are also there. But what happened now? Are they not getting the enough support? I believe here we have to come to question the government. What are they doing to help the farmers? So rice being our staple food, I can say like 98% of Gambians depend on rice. And still now we cannot be independent on producing our own rice consumption. When you are importing from other countries, there is a lot of consequences to it. I mean, there is a lot of consequences. if anything affect that country, most especially like economic issues, if inflation affect that particular country, there is high probability that you will easily like imported inflation, which will affect your country. So I believe in this case, I will really put it to the government to look into this matter. That is the banning of rice importation. They might not just ban it one day, because we know that like things do not work like that. But they can start, implementing strategies to encourage farmers to grow rice. Look, go to like the rural Gambians, rural Gambia, you will see that there are many fertile farmlands, like most especially like this furrow, like they call it furrow. I'm from Parafania, definitely. Like I was not fine, but we were living with some people that we are doing it. And those people, if you go to their farmlands, you know that these people can really grow sufficient rice like for the Gambia, but they don't have the support required. They don't have the tools or the equipments to also, grow the rice that is needed, to feed us. So therefore, I believe I would call on the government to really put this into consideration, start implementing plans. Like Gambia's time, we have what we call grow what you eat and eat what you grow. So visions like that, they are very, very important for a government to implement. Like you are dependent on something, try to be independent in it. So what if we go up to a time that, India say, no, we are not exporting rice to Gambia. Other countries also stop. What are we going to do as a country? So being independent is very, very important. Being independent is not about celebrating 1965 and that alone. It's not stop that. You have to be independent, in what you eat. You have to be independent on how you run your things. You have to be independent in all aspects. But looking at Gambia, like I always say that we are not independent still now, because of most of the time we depend on other stuff. Even right now, electricity, we are depending most of the time, on Senegal, which is not, done at all. So I believe this is a topic that is really, debatable, and the government should put it into consideration. Let them start bringing strategies to ban rice importation in the Gambia and support our local farmers to produce sufficient rice for the local consumers. Thank you so very much. Yeah, I believe the judges are working on the gradings. Maybe UTGDA, you can come in. Hadija, you can continue for now while they work on the marks.
Yes, please. Khadija, you moderate while I finish this.
All right.
Yeah.
So if you have any contribution or comment, as far as the debate topic is concerned, you may raise your hand up. Please, no personal attack. Mr. Bide, you want to say something? Your hand is up.
I believe it's UTG Debate Association.
Okay, you may comment.
Hello, good afternoon from our end and good evening to you all. I am Alhaji Jaju, the Secretary General of the University of the Gambia Debate Association. And it's a pleasure to have been joining you guys all since yesterday up to today. Anyway, the topic is very important in the sense that it have to do with the consumption. And for me, I'm going to put my support to the government or the proposer that we should ban, or the government of the Gambia should ban the importation of rice. As Ibrahim rightly said, we have an arable land, we have a vast land that can support the cultivation of rice. In fact, the entire CRR, that is Central River Region, is 95% of all the waters in the CRR is fresh water. And that means it can support irrigation, and it can support the cultivation of rice throughout the year, be it rainy season or dry season. What the government should do is to ensure that these communities or this region is well empowered. Empowered in the sense that it will come up with mechanized farming system that will support the cultivation of rice in this country. Rice is our staple food. There is no home in this country where you will not see people cooking rice. In fact, in some households, they eat rice both lunch and dinner. So that shows that it is a stable food for the country. Again, also the importance of banning this importation of rice cannot be overemphasized, in the sense that we have very dishonest people in our markets, meaning those who are controlling the sales of yes, okay, you are all right. That means those who are controlling the sales of rice in the country are very dishonest in the sense that each bag of rice that comes to the country has an expiry date. But what happens is, if they keep it until this rice expiry date has expired, they have special machines that will turn the expiry dates to a new date. So that means the people's health is at risk. But if we are able to cultivate rice in the country, we stop the importation of rice, we only depend on what is grown in this country for our survival, we will have less patients, our hospitals will be less congested, and people will have that abundance of health to be able to run down their businesses and be of good state of mind. So again, also, you move to North Bank, you come down to even other parts of URR. All those places are very good for rice cultivation. So what the government should do, as I said earlier, is to ensure that these farmers are empowered, they are given the right materials and the right resources to be able to take care of this country. This country is very small for us to depend entirely on rice that are imported. It is very disheartening. If you go to the likes of Nigeria, one state of Nigeria alone can feed this country. So if one state of Nigeria can feed this country, and majority of Nigerians are farmers, why not the Gambia, where we also have almost 95% of households in this country who are farmers? So for that note, I want to stop here and allow my colleagues also to come in. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for those wonderful points. I believe the government will listen to us. Okay, Mr. Serif Bas. Mr. Serif, you may comment.
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are the.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I would like to thank each and every individual that preoccupied this platform here today. It's very, very important to come on board and then debate on contemporary issues affecting our society. This is something that is very, very important. My name is Serif Diallo. I'm the president of the Young Champion Debaters Association. I would just give a general overview or recommendation of verdict towards the just concluded debate. The debate was really good, well contested debate for that matter, on a topic that is also very, very important. Notwithstanding, both participants did extremely well, and they must be congratulated. And this is what I want to put across. Let us see this as a mean to develop ourselves, to develop our critical thinking skills, to develop our skills as debaters. Because debates make you to be a critical thinker. Once you are a critical thinker, you tend to be innovative, and when you are innovative, you tend to be productive members of the society. And I believe each and every one of us yearn to be a productive member of the society. We yearn to be assets and not liabilities towards the society. Concerning the topic that is at hand, I believe the debaters need to improve when it comes to the structure and also content building. It is something that is very, very important. The British parliamentary system of debate, which is the system of debate that I believe you people are using here, each debater, when you come on board, you are expected to follow a structure, and that structure matters a lot. Once you tell the adjudicators, this is the structure that I am following, it's very, very important you follow that particular structure. And when you look at motions in generally, we have different type of motions, because we have what we call the policy motions, which is something that you want to bring later as a form of a policy. This motion, this house believes that the the Gambia should ban the importation of rice. The Gambia should ban the importation of rice. It's very, very important. It is a policy that we want to bring on board. However, there are certain things that one needs to consider. One, when should this be done? The Gambia should ban the importation of rice. Is it in the next 1 year? Is it in the next 2 years? Is it in the next 5 years? It's very, very important because sustainability matters a lot. It's not just like we jump up together and say we are going to ban the importation of rice when the rice that we have here cannot sustain us. It is true that we have the Jalipaja rice field and many rice fields, but can it sustain us? Do we have the necessary equipments in order to produce the rice quality that we need? One of the debaters made mention of, according to GBOS, whether it's true or not, that 20% of the rice that is produced by the Jahale or the rice that is produced within the Gambia can only sustain 20% of this population. So if that is the case, it means sustainability is a threat. So it is very, very important when debating on topics like this to try to set a time frame. That is, for example, this house would, as the Prime Minister, when you come on board, you can come and say, this house believes that the Gambia should ban the importation of rice in the next 5 years. During this period, the Gambia must have developed its local rice fields. Like, for example, bringing in the necessary equipment, supporting farmers with what they need at the end of the day, whereby we can be able to sufficient ourselves. And we also need to understand that the rate of importation and exportation plays a huge role towards the economy. Any country that heavily depends on imports, that is materials that are coming from the other countries, coming into the country, is a threat towards the stability of that particular nation. And in the Gambia, the current situation of the Gambia, you realize that most of our things here are imported into the country. With that, it makes it very, very difficult to compete in the global market. So this is something that we need to consider generally. But I believe next time when we are given motions like this, let us not narrow it down, but instead let us look at it from a broader perspective. And with that, we will be able to present everlasting solutions towards these problems that we are facing. Many people are here that wants to at least say one or two things. So I would like to stop here and thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sirif. Thank you for those recommendations. We will work on that, inshallah. Can we have Mr. Bakari A?
Yeah, good evening, viewers and good listeners. My name is Bakari Ijami from Punjab. What I want to put across, like my fellow students mentioned earlier, I think is very important. The only thing as a student, we are ambassador of our country representing here, doing our studies. Being studies here overseeing is like we are here to go and make improvement or make impact after graduating. From graduating doesn't mean that when you go back, we occupy office. You are just there just to lean on your hands on decks or to contribute to society what expecting from you. So the only thing we can do as Gambians, we come together. What I have here to make clear to all of my fellow students, this committee organizing this debate is another contributing factor. It's equip us and well prepared towards after the graduation to go and contribute to our government. Right now, Gambia, we are seeking a lot of improvement, massive improvement. The basic and most important fundamental aspect we need from Gambian students, especially those when in foreign land, we need to improve a lot. Doesn't mean that when you go back to Gambia, you have to join the inner circle, looting, stealing money. Doesn't mean that one overnight you have to reach or be a millionaire. No, you are there to satisfy the Gambian people. You should be the servants of the people, not there to be the overboss. Boss doesn't mean that degree holder or title. Boss is somebody who is mindset, well prepared, go and rescue your people from the problems. And they cannot do it. But what I learned here, Gambians, what we need to do, we put all the blame on government. Government is the organization is there to set up a cabinet. And most of these Gambians a ministerial post is being a political appointed. Most of these ministerial posts give them positions, like the example of Ministry of Agriculture. so far is dilapidating. It's very worse, to be honest. Gambians, let's be sincere and after each other. Gambians, Gambians belongs to Gambians. Gambians belong to any foreigners. If you see the importation of rice to Gambia, most of these businessmen is being held by the businessmen. And these businessmen, they go and look for cheap rice. Not first class, not second class, third broken rice they bring to Gambia. And if you see those third class broken rice is being contaminated, and you bring in those type of rice coming to Gambia, and you see where are they kept? The magazine being kept, these rice, they become contaminated with virus, and those are not those magazines are not even well equipped for food. Somebody to eat a food is not hygienic. Where are the people of Ministry of Health? Ministry of Health is sleeping. Gambians, the mechanization of the Gambian's agriculture system is very poor, to be honest. I mean, if you look of the qualification holders of agriculture sector, is one of the most highest qualifications a degree or PhD holders. But where are they? When they come, they occupy offices. They feel big, but to go down to the field. Gambia, we have a lowland farm, lowland area, not inland, not highland. Gambia is one of the most countries whereby we can cater food for ourselves without not depending on the foreign lands. But foreigners, they don't care. They are doing business. They just there to make to look for money for Gambians. But Gambians, they don't care for the Gambians people. So the problem is we need to have those people who are willing to take the responsibility after graduating from school, go down to the field, take them, those people who don't know how to technical know-how, take them. You should have the people who are training. When they bring the farm mechanization systems, they bring them, take them after period of time, every 3-6 months, maintenance those equipments so that they can have reliable. So Gambians, we have economic is not sustainable. So which means that Gambia, others are filling the bucket, others are draining the bucket. So economic is not going to be sustainable. We are wasting our time here. We should change our attitude towards national development. Ethics is very important. Gambians, ethics is a big problem for Gambians. Gambians, the mindset they have is very poor. You cannot be appointed today, tomorrow you'll be a millionaire. My brothers, brothers Gambians, this is what I have to contribute. We be ready to be somebody to take responsibility. Thank you all.
Thank you, thank you. You are entitled.
Well said, Mr. Thank you very much, Mr. Bukhari, for those insightful contributions. Sorry for that. Thank you very much, Mr. Bukhari. Can we have Abubakar? Abubakar?
Yes. Thank you so much, Madam Secretary, for that. Okay, my contribution to this topic will be, as the motion is like whether to ban rice. I will say maybe we can just remove the word ban to minimize the importation of rice. Banning, if you look at the consumption rate of rice in the Gambia, it is a long-term project that will lead us to ban rice. It cannot be just 2 months or 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. It is a long-term process. Why? Because we know the problem that Gambian have is that food, we take only rice should be banned from importation. It's not only that. We are not going to ban it, but at least minimize its importation, and also let the government support the farmers in this. Because the notion that the Gambians or many people have that if you are a farmer, you are among the poorest people in the country. And also there is no the helping the aids that are given to farmers from the government, that is coming from the government, is very less. So now every farmer, let's say now Combo or inside the Greater Banjul area, West Coast, is congested. Why? Because many people that are in the farming system are leaving the country, are leaving the farmers to come and also join the people in the combos to work and get money. So if there is no motivation, there is no aid subsidies that are given to the farmers, how do you expect them to farm? We cannot ban importation rice just within a short period of time. It is a long-term project that the government need to plan. Like, let's say in the next 10 years, in the next 7 years, that the percentage of importation of rice should be low at least. But Gambia, every year the importation of rice is rising instead of going down. So where is the the support that the government is doing? Many developing countries, the farmers are the richest people, but the government have to serve as an example. The rice project that the President Yahya Jammeh left there, these people have ignored that. So the notion, I will rephrase what the Yahya Jammeh said when he said, "But grow what you eat." It's not only rice; it's all vegetable, all cereals products. It's not only rice. So this is my contribution, as others might also have one to say. But let it be minimizing the importation, but not banning it. That's my take.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abubakar. I know you're very scared now. No one is going to ban rice. It is the importation of rice that we are talking about. Yetebas and rice. Thank you very much for those wonderful wisdom. Can we have just a minute? Can we have Mr. Mohammed? Mahmoud. Sorry.
All right. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my idea on this platform. My point of view is that the importation of rice is something that is a big concern to the Gambian. The price is getting higher and higher every day. So I think for the Gambia to initiate something here whereby we can condemn the importation of rice, we have a very good vast of land where rice can be cultivated, and the river Gambia is not salty. So if government support farmers by irrigating the land and providing other necessary tools that will enhance the production of rice will be very helpful, because the escalation of the price for a bag of rice is getting higher and higher every day. So this is a big concern, and we know most of the Gambians are low income earners. So that's my contribution or my view.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mahmoud. Like one of the speakers said, we need attitudinal change. Looking at the population of the Gambia and the land we have in the Gambia, of course, banning importation of rice is very possible from my own point of view. But then, are we ready for this as Gambians? It is a long-term plan. But if we want to do it, we can really do it. So the Yetebas are crying here, saying that rice should not be banned. It is the importation of the rice that should be banned, not rice. Mr. Abubakar. Okay, do you have any other question, contribution?
Yes, Wise.
Wise, I'm sorry.
Yes, Kajat, thank you so very much. Bo, thank you so very much. Actually, I don't think Gambia is ready to ban the importation of rice. To ban importation of rice, it has a lot of consequences. First, before you said, okay, let's ban the importation of rice, do we really have the materials in place that we will use to cultivate? Do you have those machines? We have to go, we purchase those machines. Then when you have the machines in place, everything in place, fertilize everything, then we can talk about the importation of rice. Rice is important. We cannot ban rice, but we can at least reduce the importation. But rice eating, no, we cannot ban that one. Rice is very important. And then secondly, if you come to the economic aspect of it, importation is very costly. We know that once you want to calculate the GDP, that importation is minus. So once you subtract it from your GDP, the amount of goods and services that you have always is very, 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 very small. That is why always I'll be saying that to import is very costly. So Gambia, I think we have to strategize. We have to, look into other ways how we can help our people. But definitely, that country is not moving. That's the truth. That country is not moving. Like I used to say always, Gambia is not like we don't have people that have knowledge. But the thing is, they have knowledge, they have everything, but the attitude is very bad. The attitude is very bad. When we said you are the minister of trade, my friend, just make sure that you do everything possible to ease the life for the Gambians. That's the only thing. We are not asking you to construct airports or whatsoever. But what we are telling you is that reduce the price of rice and then other basic commodities. Yes, that is it. Though we know that we can't stop inflation, in economics, you can't stop inflation, and then inflation, it is a signal that the economy is growing, but that does not mean that Gambia should have 2 digit inflation. The last time when I checked, the inflation rate of Gambia was more than 22.2%. So that is very bad. That is it. So the reason why most of the goods they are costly in Gambia today is because of imported inflation. For example, let's say America, let's say if they are having inflation and then we import, some goods from them, automatically we will also have the same. So that is it. So my point is, yes, we can ban the importation of rice, but maybe in the next 10 years or maybe 15 years, importation is costly. So we have to sit and then discuss very well before we take certain actions. Thank you so very much, Kaja. That's my point.
Thank you very much, Mr. Finance Minister. I strongly agree with you. Can we have Mr. Abdullah Njai?
Thank you. Thank you, Kajatu. Thank you very much for having me. Well, I would say this first. If you do not call your judges, the debate will continue the rest of the night. So I believe they should come in whenever they are ready. If not, this topic, I'm seeing more hands coming up, and then the debate will continue the rest of the day. Well, the topic is very important, but what I understand is people are saying it from one aspect, that's the government, but they're not talking about the mindset and the people. Few of people did. That is Mr. Jame and the other guy. Do you know many people don't eat baramano at first? Many people don't know. Some people in house they don't buy it. They don't eat this local rice. They will tell you no. They prefer eating basmati rice, full grain rice, and the likes. They think eating this rice is something else. So these are things that have to do with mindset. People believe in something that is from. There are people in our compounds that only order stuffs. They don't eat anything from local. It's happening. If we think of government alone cannot do it. People should have the mindset and we can make it. How many of us know that currently there are rice projects being started in the country, in CRRR? If you don't know, I will tell you that there is a mega project by Ja Oil starting to make sure at least some percentage of rice is produced in the country. It has to start from somewhere. And it's not only government can do it. Everyone from all angles can do it. Government is just there to implement the policies. Yes, they are the lead. They have to help and they have to come in. But again, this problem starts with the mindset and the people. The finance guy said, Cham, that Gambia is not moving. We should make it move. That's why we are here studying. Let's have the mindset that we can move the Gambia and we will move it, inshallah. But to be honest, even the youths, we ourselves are a bigger problem because even if you don't travel to Europe, you think you're nowhere. So the story continues and goes on and goes on. I think we can make it. I mean, banning rice is possible. The importation is possible, not only rice. And also, someone said, grow what you eat. Doesn't stop there. You also have to grow, not only eat, but grow and export. Yeah, Japanese philosophy was good, but more than that, we should think beyond of only growing and eating. No, we grow and even export. The Gambia used to export groundnut, cotton, and so many things. None of these things are happening now because everyone is comfortable at your own corner with your little thing you have. So the story is really, really interesting. I see the debating educator coming in, so I will stop here for now. But thank you very much. It's a very interesting topic, and we love to do it more and more. Thank you. Over to you, Kanjati.
Thank you very much, Mr. Njai. Mr. Bite, you may please let us know when you are ready. So before that, we can have Mr. Sini. Mr. Sini, your hand was up, sorry.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all of you. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts on this topic, banning of importation of rice in the Gambia. Yeah, I hold the view that the Gambia government should ban the importation of rice into the country, but not now. It should be a long-term plan for the government. Because we all believe in economics that if a country's economy is only rely on importation of goods and services, that country will never prosper. The more you are importing, know that you are importing inflation as well. You understand? And if you look at the current situation of our beloved country, you will realize that it is very, very sad. Look, 90% of Gambians are farmers, but yet still we can't sustain ourselves. Let's look at India as an example. India is having 1.4 billion people. Now, the population of India, you can compare that to the entire Africa, not only Gambia. So, if India is able to sustain themselves to produce enough rice for each citizen and to export some to African countries, Africa, not only Gambia, but Africa can do it as well. They can do it. We have the land, we have the resources, but I think the willingness is lacking. You understand? Gambia government should start to lay down plans. Not for now. These are long term. It is going to be a long term investment. India doesn't just wake up one day and produce enough rice for each citizen. No, they have good policies where they help their farmers with subsidies, provide them with machines. But in Gambia, definitely it is a very sad country to see. Honestly speaking, if you look at the population of Gambia, it's if you look at the current population of the Gambia. Hello.
Yes, you
Am
may
I?
have, but the judges are.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I will hold the view that Gambia government should start to look into um, its policies for them to um, lay down policies which is going to support farmers locally to produce enough food for each citizen, so that at least our country will be a better country, and then we are not going to rely on foreign countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sini. I may hand over to Mr. Pite. Mr. Pite, the floor is yours.
Yes, Khadija, thank you very much for that. And thank you to everybody who shared their personal contributions as far as the debate is concerned or the motion is concerned. There are these are things that we should discuss as Gambians. And I believe with these discussions, we would try to look for ways we can impact and influence decisions as well. Because personally, I'm not a fan of always relying on the government. Of course, a greater chunk of the work has to be done by the government. But as citizens of the country, we owe so much to the country as well. We should not always be saying the Gambian government, and the Gambian government. What are we doing towards this? So I'll just reference that in South Korea or North Korea, I'm not really sure. It's the country that makes Samsung. That when they wanted their products to be out there, they banned the importation of every other brand of phones in the country for 3 years. And after those 3 or 5 years, I'm not sure, but after that particular year elapsed, they said you can bring in your products into the country. And when those products started coming back, nobody was buying them because people were already used to the Samsung brand. So it's just the strategies that we put in place as Gambians to make sure that our products are out there. Of course, the government would help, but as citizens, we owe it. We can always contribute. We can always contribute because if you say we cannot ban the importation of rice, where are we importing these rice? We're importing them from other countries. We are not importing them from heaven. How are those countries able to produce, sustain themselves, and even and share part of their rice with the Gambia? Unless you believe it's from another planet also. But the discussions are very legit, and I hope the government hears us, and hopefully we would be able to influence decision through our voices. So I'll move straight forward, and whatever my personal judgment towards this does not reflect, or is not reflective the on the score sheet. It's just my personal belief, and I graded everybody based on what you said. So I'll just move forward to the debate and give feedbacks to the debaters. So I'll start with the Prime Minister, then the opposition leader, then we go that way. So to the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister gave a structure that was not quite followed. So we emphasize that it's very important for you to give a structure and not just give it for the sake of giving a structure. When you give a structure, make sure you follow that same structure and flow as you with your points. You gave a highlight of a lot of points. Most of them were not explained. You gave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points during your first deliberation. I understand you were swinging, but when you're swinging, you don't necessarily have to give the points that you're giving at that point and the points that you would be giving when you come back next. So when you're swinging, just assume that you're one person that is performing different performing different responsibilities. So as far as this responsibility is concerned, you're very different from the next person that is coming. So don't highlight all your points. You could just highlight 3 when you come first, and when you're coming next, you highlight the other 3 and explain. But if you bring all your points at once, you give the others the opportunity to hit you back, and that would not be very good for you. So just make sure that you give a structure and follow that same structure. And with definition of the terms, make sure you define all the key terms in the motion. You joined rice importation, which is quite right. So you don't necessarily have to use rice separate and importation separate and define them. You could join them and define. But make sure you give reference. It's very important because they are not your words, and your words may not always be right. But when you give words that we all believe or reference to sites that we all believe are legit, then we would not be able to raise question marks as far as those definitions are concerned. What else? And you over debated. I told you the other time that when you're debating and the second clap goes, the first clap to indicate unprotected time, the second to indicate protected time, try to wrap up. Once it is 6 minutes, try wrapping up, because you obviously have a lot to say, but you don't want to do it at the detriment of you losing some points just because you want to explain important points. So once it is 7 minutes, whatever you say, the judges would not grade. We don't even write those points. So once it is 7 minutes, just reserve it. Don't. Especially given that you have to come back, you'll be able to talk more on those points. So that is all from the Prime Minister. And the opposition leader. The opposition leader gave a structure and reported the points that were emphasized by the Prime Minister, which is very good. The rebuttals were very good. I was impressed with the rebuttals personally, and redefined the key terms, but in a different way. She defined rice ban importation. I did not hear you defining the Gambia. And when you're defining the Gambia, you just look at the motion and define it in a way it suits the motion. So if you are to define Gambia as a country that is in West Africa, it may not be very much relevant to the motion. So you may relate it to the population and its country size. So when you're flowing, you just say a population of less than 2 million is not able to feed itself legally. So that is how you define. But I don't believe Gambia was defined all through. But it's just one. With the rest of the definitions, you gave reference, which was very good, and your points. And one thing I like about the presentation was there was so much coherence. Like from this, you're going to this. That is the importance of giving structures. When you give a structure, make sure you follow it. And once that is done, you'll be able to flow. It makes your work very, very easy. You know, I am done with this. I am going to this. And you inform us that I am done with point 1. I am going to point 2. It's very good, and it helps you. And you debated on time, I believe. Let me see. Yes, the timing was perfect because, yeah. So the deputy opposition leader. So when you came back, so when you're swinging, again, You don't perform. You consider yourself as two separate people, even though you're just one person. When you came back, it was like a continuation from where you stopped. You did not see the need to give a structure that would guide your presentation and that would guide the judges of what you're doing. Because as Deputy Prime Minister, you have a lot of responsibilities. It is your responsibility to rebut the points of the opposition leader. It is your responsibility to strengthen the points of the Prime Minister. So all of those are things that you should do, but you did not. You just went straight to explain your points of dependency, quality control, fresh and more nutritious rice, and poverty, how it improves poverty, and all of that. So when you're swinging again, just put into consideration that you're not the same person. You're different. You're strengthening the points of the Prime Minister, and not just try to accept it. But yeah, other than that, nothing. With the deputy opposition leader as well. Deputy opposition leader gave a structure, and her rebuttals were fine, were good. The strengthenings as well was very good, and that was what's one thing I was looking at since yesterday. I think it's an improvement from yesterday. Most of the debaters did not really strengthen the points of their bench members, but she did a very good job with the strengthenings, and even gave some statistics to back the strengthening of the points, and the very own points were very good. So yeah, that is it for me. Yeah, that is it for me. And also to the Prime Minister, I am sorry, I'm talking too much. So I addressed during the training that when you are Prime Minister, try to answer the how and the why question. If you answer this, it makes work and life very easy for you. If you know how are we going to ban the importation of the rice, you answer, you get Lee. Why are we going to ban it? Then you get your answers, and it even guide you through your points as well. When are we going to ban it? Are we going to ban it just now, or are we going to ban it after 3 years? If you're able to answer these questions, then you put the opposition side at a very funny position, because whatever point they bring, you can just tell them, I am not saying we are doing this now. We are banning the importation of rice gradually. We would finally ban it after 5 years. When they bring the issue of limitation of resources, you tell them before 5 years we would be able to get all of these things in place. If they bring the issue of the economic impact it would have, you would tell them that it would be tackled before 5 years. Whatever they say, you would tell them before 5 years we will get this done. So it's easier for you. It gives you so much. It puts you at ease with the debate. So that is the feedback from my end. It's not personal. It's just to help you. Everybody, I mean, it's to help you improve in the subsequent rounds. So I'll just hand over to the other judges to share their feedbacks with all of you. So Al-Ghasim and Jibril, over to you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good afternoon from the Gambia. Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank the debaters, commend them for taking the bold decision of representing their states in the debate championship. It really tells well of them, and more thanks goes to the government, the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister who was swinging. It takes a lot to do that as a debater, so I really commend him for taking that bold step. It's really not easy to debate, especially when you are alone and you do not have a partner. So I must say he did. That was a very good debate for him for a start. Okay, now to move on to the general analysis of the debate. I must say the government bench really, we expected better from them. However, as I said, it's one person, so he found it difficult to balance the work. Just to add on to what Bite said, the structure is very important. So you at least need to give a structure and guide the judges on how you're going to do your debate. And to add on to that too, as Bite was saying, when you are given motions like this, you don't just need to come and say you will ban rice importation and stop there, tell us the reason, and comment by telling us the reason why you need to ban the rice importation. Maybe you can guide your way by telling us maybe you can guide us, sorry, by saying why, the how and when. For example, you know that rice is a staple food in the Gambia. You cannot just ban it like that. Maybe you can tell the House that we'll be banning it in the next 5 years, or first we will ensure that we empower the farmers in the communities or in the villages. Then in the next 5 years, considering the fact that the farmers are being empowered, we'll consider banning at least one of the rices, let's say American rice or Saddam rice. Maybe you could have a major debate on that way, but I'm sure this is a learning point and you can do better next time. So just an advice to you, keep on debating, and with a lot of practice you can make it, inshallah. And now to the opposition. The opposition, I must say, I am really impressed. You guys did absolutely well. You gave us a structure and you followed it. I love the fact that you guys have confidence. You guys had confidence in yourselves, and that was something that is very good. As a debater, even if you are lying, make sure you lie with confidence. Like, confidence is very important in whatever you are doing. So confidence is very important. And to just give them a recommendation, when you are reporting points, you don't just need to come and say, this point does not hold water. The rebuttals were actually good, but you could have done a little bit more. Like, you don't actually come and say, this point does not hold water, and or say this point is bogus or trash. Raise the point, tell us what the point was, tell us why the point was bogus and trash, and maybe give an alternative or give a recommendation to trash that point. That is one way of doing rebuttals. So I must say I'm really impressed, and just keep on practicing, and with time you guys can be the best of debaters. And I must commend the Gambian Indian Association, the Association of Gambian Students in India, because she realized that exercises like this will really help in building your public speaking skills, because public speaking is important in whatever we do, being a finance person, a computer analyst person, or whatever person, you need public speaking in the work that you do. We do not want to have a next generation of leaders who are not able to express themselves, who are only good at books. Yeah, so I must commend the Gambia Indian Student Association for coming up with exercises like this. Thank you very much. That was all from me.
Right, good afternoon to you all. Thank you very much for having me, and I want to reiterate, let's say, to congratulate all of you for the job well done. So sometimes I want to be a bit raw. Yeah, so we had a session yesterday, and then we had one today. But I think personally, the session we had yesterday was tougher for me than today, right? And I think I was expecting it to be extremely better, because at least most of those that are debating today, I believe, were in the debate yesterday. And then the feedbacks that were given at the end of the debate could have been utilized, right, by the debaters today. So the major problems that we had yesterday was structuring, summary, nature of your motions, the fact that they are policy motions and what is expected of them. But then I think Al-Ghazim, Bite, was able to extensively explain these issues, right? So I think I will still talk about the issue of the summary. So maybe we can say, for someone that has over-debated, you're not expected to complete any summary, because you're not even able to finish on time, and then we're not expecting a summary from you. However, that is not it's not an excuse, because the summary is a key area as far as the debate is concerned, and it was supposed to be the responsibility of the debater to limit themselves to a particular timing so that they can give a summary. So yesterday we had people that intended to summarize, but they could not, because they were like, in summary, I believe if we grant Jame amnesty, so and so and so. That was like a conclusion. So the opposition bench was able to summarize today extensively, and they did it extremely well. And that is one area that actually stood out for me. The fact that they debated within the timing, did their rebuttals, did their strengthening, and then they were able to say, to make a summary. That was good. So sometimes you make a summary at your own favor, not necessarily the mark that you're doing, but then sometimes the judges can actually miss a point that you have highlighted. But when you're doing your summary, you remind them of the bulletins of your point or your argument, then they can be able to be on track. And I said this yesterday. So I want to commend the opposition bench for that. And the government bench. So it was just when BT raised the issue of the swinging, that's when I remember that you were actually swinging. So that could tell you that even though swinging is hard, but particularly as a judge, I'm not too concerned to take it as an excuse for anybody. So you intended to debate and you have a partner, but your partner did not come. But if you're debating and you're swinging, I don't even see you as a single person. So you're coming as the prime minister and the deputy prime minister. So whether you flop in your second position on the podium, that was supposed to resonate to your foresight. I'm not going to take it enough as an excuse. So the advice that I'll give is, if you are swinging, you need to have a separate document or paper so that you can write your responsibilities or what you're supposed to do in one and write the other one in a separate paper, so that when you move to the podium with one document that is entirely about your work as far as prime minister is concerned, and you do exactly that. So when you move again as deputy prime minister, you're still confined to what your roles are as deputy prime minister. So you will realize that your marks as the prime minister or the deputy could be a bit lower than you were expecting, simply because you did not exhaust most of the most important parts as far as your speaker role is concerned. So I'm sure BT must have emphasized during the training that we don't actually gauge you on how true or not true what you're saying is. We have the rubrics, and he talked about that. So the content is not entirely about how true; it's about how good you're able to convince. But you have your speaker roles that are one of the most peculating as far as your debate is concerned. And if you're supposed to strengthen as deputy prime minister, that is expected of you, and you're supposed to do it. And if you're supposed to make a rebuttals to the point of the opposition leader, that is also one expectation of you, but you did not fulfill. So as far as I'm concerned, I felt that is one area that you should work on. If you have a speaker role, you have to exhaust your speaker role. Not necessarily to be more particular about what you were saying and how, but how are you able to relay this to your position is very important. So if you have, let's say, around 5 points and let's say 10 good things that you can say about your opponent, but when you came, you did not even specify that you want to report. You did not specify that you're going to strengthen. You just went on to your points. I assume that as far as your position is concerned, the only thing that you've exhausted is delivering your arguments. You did not strengthen, you did not report. So that's one area that you should work on, yeah? And then the issue of the rebuttals for the opposition side. So rebuttals, Algazim was able to talk about this, yeah? But I'll reiterate. Personally, I think rebuttals is the most important part as far as the BP system of debate is concerned. It is one unique thing that differentiates the British parliamentary system and the Karl proper. And of course, it is one thing that stands out if you want to identify if something is speech reading or debate. So you make a rebuttals and a good rebuttals. That is what qualify how you totally are in disagreement as far as your opposition points are concerned. So when you come, you don't just say the point does not hold water and it does not hold water and it's a house of intellectual and it does not fit in the house. No, like he said, you have to identify a claim because the prime minister made an argument. The argument comprised of the claim, an explanation to the claim, the evidence to back the claim, and of course the linkage. So when you come, you have to identify what their claim was. You see, the prime minister said that banning of the importation of rice is going to lead to economic instability, maybe one. That's the identification of the claim. You disagree, but in your disagreement, that's when you explain why you believe it is not going to lead to this. You provide an evidence to support, and then you move. So if you just come and say that the prime minister said this, we just don't hold water, to me, you did not make any rebuttals, right? It was like criticizing their points. So that is one area that you should consider, that all of us should consider as far as the debating is concerned, right? And I must say that the opposition leader did extremely well as far as the motion is concerned. The biggest issue that the government said fell short was the research. It was supposed to be easier for you to debate that the Gambia is going to ban the importation of rice. Personally, I think that is the easiest side for someone to debate. But then you did not do thorough. You did not go thorough as far as your homework is concerned. You're supposed to make so many research about why you think the importation of rice should be banned. Talking about food insecurity. You have these as points, right? But how good did you explain these points? You did not even come with something that is relatable. You did not provide statistics and facts to support how food insecurity has caused harm or good as far as the country is concerned. You talk about how you think the rice that we eat could lead to our health complications. So these are so many things that you could have done deeper research on. And then when you raise them, you give your opposition a little chance for them to backlash on you, right? To lash on you. And then the other thing is, So BT emphasized the issue of the fact that it's a policy motion, the when and the how. So the opposition bench was able to say that the Gambia is not ready to ban the importation of rice because when they came to power, the Anambra region, they have substituted people's agricultural items or let's say equipments to donkeys, right? So if you had talked about the fact that you intend to make this implementation in the next 5 years, you would have prevented questions like the Gambia is not ready. You see, and then if you had talked about the house is extremely important. How are you actually going to make sure that people buy the idea of you banning importation? Because the government does not just work on a scale like that. So do you intend to submit this to the National Assembly? Do they have to make a vote? Do they have to reach the public? Does the people in the different constituencies need to represent the ideas of the people that they serve? So it's supposed to be how much did you engage the community, right? And then good leadership starts from that. At least if you come and say we're just going, at least someone from the opposition could tell you that you're not even someone who considers inclusion as far as your decision making is concerned, because you don't even tell us whether you intend to engage the public or not. So you could say we want to do public communications, roll up banners, let's say street banners, social media, and then one important how as far as agriculture is concerned is to make sure that we stop putting old women on the flyers. So we cannot put old women and men, old men and women who actually look very, very, very dirty in a rumpled cloth on the agriculture, on let's say on a farming scale as advertising and intend the people to buy. So you have to make us realize and understand that agriculture is actually way beyond the old and the poor. So put pictures of young, healthy people so that you can actually make agriculture a bit sexier. I don't know if you understand. So these are strategic ways for you to sell the importance of agriculture. You first start by talking about the importance of agriculture as far as Gambia is concerned before you can convince someone to ban agriculture or importation of rice, right? So that is it for me. I think generally the lapses were because of there was not enough research as far as the motion is concerned. Because you could have come with statistics. And then one issue that the opposition side has an edge over the government is the consistency in providing statistics and support. There is not a single point that have been provided. We did not have a statistics to back it. And then they've quoted from the GBOS, they've quoted from researches that are published. And that is extremely good, right? So this is it. For me, I believe we can do better. And I also want to remind all of you that the first time all of us had debated, we felt extremely bad of our participants. But the more we kept on debating, the more we realized that we're actually changing and becoming that version of a debater that we intend to be. So I want to commend the Gambian International Students Association. Is it Gambian Indian? Yeah, I'm not GAM-IND. Yeah, for staging such a good initiative. And I encourage that you keep on doing this exercise so that you can be not only debaters, but people who actually can echo their voices as far as national and international decision making is concerned. Yes, again, congratulations. And I wish you guys all the best in this subsequent round. So, Momo Biti, I don't know, should I go ahead and release the results if we don't have any other thing to do?
Yes, please. You go on ahead with the announcement of the results.
Right. So the results are as follow. So the government bench was able to score a point of 53 points. The government bench, 53 out of 100, and the opposition bench was able to score 78.7 points. 78.7 points, right? So the opposition is crowned victorious as far as today's championship all round is concerned. Thank you.
Back to you.
Thank you very much, DUDG Debate Association, Mr. Mamadou Bite and the team. Congratulations to all participants. Like I said in the beginning, there is no loser. As far as you are bold enough to represent your state, we are saying congratulations. And please, I encourage all of you to join us next week, the same time, inshallah, as we will proceed to the next level of the debate. And then next week, inshallah, Gujarat will also join. So I hope to see you all. Before we end this meeting, I would like to say thank you to all participants. Thank you to ex-student and current student for taking your time and then join this debate. It was indeed a successful one. Our vice president has a little health issue and wouldn't be able to give closing remarks. So on that note, I would like to call on Mr. Mamadou Fati, if he is with us here, to give a closing remark. Thank you very much. Please do join us next week, inshallah. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and good afternoon to those in the Gambia. That's the UTG Debate Association, those given the task and the mandate to oversee the whole process. We thank you all for your support, for your encouragement, and I thank every member of the GAM India, both the present and the past. And we pray that may God the Almighty strengthen this union and this relationship forever and grant us all our heart desires and success in our career endeavors. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mamadou Fati. On that note, I would like to declare this meeting closed. Thank you for joining us.